this video, we're going to be talking about the show I just did yesterday. So that would be the second show of 2026. Hi, my name is Joshua, and I run Monster Mod Studio with my wife Nicole. We literally just started our Pokemon card business like 2 months ago, I guess, 2.5, something like that. So, yeah, last show was super local, literally about like 15 minutes away from my house, and my understanding is it's mostly like a sports card show with like a few Pokemon vendors sprinkled in, and that's probably about true. So that might deter like some people from wanting to participate in Pokemon or there, since it's mostly going to be sports cards guys. But actually, because there are so few Pokemon card vendors and so many people with Pokemon, we all kind of got a bigger chunk of the pie. That kind of like manifested itself in I was busy the entire time. So it was a 5-hour show, and it was just nonstop to the point like I couldn't eat. I didn't, which is totally fine. I'm used to just like running a show, no food, not a big deal. I prepped to make sure like slopped up before at breakfast before the show, and then barely even just time for water, because just talking so much and just so many people and interacting, I would get one deal done, and literally I had probably anywhere between 2 to 6 more people ready to just either trading, buying, selling to me. So I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it's very, very gratifying to see like just all these people just so excited to like participate in the Pokemon community. And it also kind of reiterated for me that I hear talk on, with PokeTubers and online with other like Pokemon influencers or whatever, that, the Pokemon community or the market is dead and it's crashing and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I guess my experience has been that it's just simply not true. Now, if you look at your collector app or your TCG player app, is everything like trending down? Yes, card prices have dropped to what I would consider a more reasonable amount for a lot of these cards, something that's more attainable, especially for people in the Midwest. I think that the coasts, the average salary and finances are higher on the East and West Coast, but in the Midwest, it's like the average salary here is like 30-40K. It's really not that high. Yeah, cost of living is lower, but not really, not truly. So having the cards come down to basically what I would consider attainable for a Midwesterner. So, but yeah, just being absolutely slammed the whole time, which is, I mean, a lot of fun, and that's exactly what you want, in your vending experiences, to just have things constantly moving, as opposed to just standing there and being bored and twiddling your thumbs. So, I mean, it was ironic though, I brought the least market value of singles and the least market value of sealed product to the show, meaning that I just had low inventory across the board. The show I have done the week prior basically cleaned me out of like probably almost half of my sealed inventory, and then which is mostly Chinese and Japanese sealed booster boxes. So I got like probably about halfway cleaned out, and then my new stuff that I've ordered just hasn't arrived yet. It'll be arriving this week, which is great because I'll be going into the next show like decently stocked. And my singles, I didn't get a lot of buying or trading in. I got like a decent amount last show, so I was just going in with everything was full. Like, my 2 binders were about what they have been in the past, and then my case was about stocked in the amount of cards, but the overall value of the cards was just kind of lower. So I made it a point in this show that I just did yesterday that I was intentionally going to take bigger risks by trying to get into higher value cards, which is a big deal for me, not so much for other people. So like, I have a bad habit of trying to pull out like the basically under $20 cards, and I just being very fiscally conservative and just believing that I don't have the cash or the liquidity to buy and then move these higher value cards. And by higher value, I literally mean like 20 to like $100. Like that's how currently small my mind is when it comes to buying and trading and selling of singles. So I made it a point of this time to not be afraid of getting some of those $20 to $100 cards. So that said, I actually did a lot of buying at this show. Just people were coming up and selling cards. So normally when I take in cards, it's about 50-50, about 50% trading, 50% buying. This one was probably 70% buying. I'm looking at my stack. So when I do these shows, I do keep the trades and my buys separate, so that way when I do my accounting later, just because of the percentage differences, it's not something that really needs to be done keeping. I mean, it does, but you could essentially say whatever you want when it comes to that, your intake on your percentage for your accounting. But I like to keep them separate just so my books are super clean. I don't have to guess, I just know. But yeah, I'm looking at the stack and it's probably at least 75-80% of buying. So people selling their cards to me, which was crazy. Again, like I said, normally it's a 50-50. So the fact that it was so much higher in people selling, and you could just tell, like, people, I got these cards, I'm looking to get rid of them and move into something else or whatever. And because we mostly invest in Japanese sealed boosters and Chinese, we're expanding slowly. I'm not forking around the big singles or the big chases. So sell to me and then going off and buy like the big card that you want. So yeah, so I took some bigger swings on cards, bigger swings for us. I mean, and I think it worked out. I'm actually gonna take a moment and show you guys some cards that I'm excited about. Like, for example, like Snorlax EV tag team, Raichu tag team. This one's not crazy. $25. That's not crazy. What else? Got an Umbreon. Again, not too crazy. Some of the ones were the Psyduck. He's definitely pretty pricey. Then I did find, this is just a cool card. It's like a Pikachu promo. I love how this glare is obnoxious. This one's got a little bit of love on it. I would say MP. If he was mint, this would be like a decent amount, something like $60-$70. But yeah, he's got a little bit of love on him. But my kid's been watching the XY series on Netflix, and this is literally basically like a scene from the show with Chespin, Pikachu, and Sylveon. So that one's kind of fun. This one was fun for me as a PC pickup. I really have been into the vintage Japanese cards more. They just trigger my nostalgia more almost than the English ones, especially like the Ghosty Boys. We got Halloween stuff all over the house. I got Halloween tattoos, so Halloween's the favorite holiday in the house for sure. So yeah, just picking up these vintage Japanese Ghosty Boys. The hollows on these are just super, super nice. So, and then other big cards too. Nothing like super crazy. Those are just some of the more like obscure ones. In general, comping out like the modern cards is simpler for me because I deal with them so much more often. So comping out anything that's mid-era or vintage, obviously I have the tools: collector, eBay, TCG player. But my capacity to then sell them is the thing that like is still kind of untested. So I have a little bit of vintage that is currently just sitting in the case, but it's only been sitting there for like 3 shows, so who knows. And then same with these new, more vintage ones. Like, again, like, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so we also brought some, we've been expanding into like some other like Pokemon merch, and that's been going very well actually, so pretty excited about that. And we'll just keep doing that. I mean, again, the love of Pokemon isn't really going anywhere, so why not feed into that and just enjoy the ride of loving on Pokemon. Most of the seal stuff we sold was I had a bunch of loose boosters that I got from buying collections on Facebook Marketplace, and those were basically cleaned out. And our Mega Dream booster boxes got cleaned out of those. What was the other one? I got cleaned out of Gem 2 and 3 in the previous show a week ago, so I had like one Gem 1 left at the show yesterday. Got cleaned out of that. So yeah, I mean, people are buying, people are excited, and we have our biggest order from Japan that we've ever done coming in this week sometime. So I will have that ready to go for the show next week. And we also this was kind of an interesting anecdote. So I've made business cards, and I've made business cards before. I do it for our art business. So I made business cards. I put a QR code to the Instagram, and it has the website. So business cards should be instantaneous. Don't write a paragraph of stuff on there. It should be like your business name, the fact that you have socials, and like your website. Just super simple, super clean. So it's very, very obvious. Maybe a subheading of what your business does, and just as people shuffle cards around, like, what is this? But so anybody who bought stuff from us, I followed up with business card, QR code goes to the Instagram, and then link to the website. And everyone was surprised that I was handing out business cards, which of course makes sense. Typically when I do these card shows, they are Pokemon card vendors, so they're vending in singles, so their goal to make money is in the short term. So it's basically how many cards can I sell every single show, and then that's it. Just basically rinse, repeat. I'm looking simply at the next show, where we're trying to use these shows to build the income over 5 to 10 years of, yes, I'm in this show, I need to make money every single weekend, but then after that, I'm also I want you to want to get booster boxes, and thinking of long term of not just chasing each weekend, selling singles, but I want you to start thinking about getting booster boxes and then getting those from us because you saw us at this show, so you know that these things are legit, and we're legit, and we're real people. So yeah, so I was able to pump that around, and that was pretty exciting. Obviously people were as I explained, that yes, we have a website, yes, you can get this stuff from us, we could ship it out to you, or I can meet you locally, all those things. So definitely pretty excited. I did learn though that when you hand the card off with the QR code, the show I did a week ago, I had a QR code for the Instagram just on a little display so people could click it right there, and that generated more traffic to our socials than the business card did, which does make sense. The show I did a week ago was easy, an 8 or 10 foot table. It was very long, but then this show was 6 foot table, so I had very, very limited space, and I have learned now that we've expanded past a 6 foot table for sure, without doing some kind of additional tiering, so going up or somehow using other things to expand out. We have that Craftsman stack toolbox, and which I've shown in previous videos, how that all works together, and I use that through the black tablecloth over it, and use that for additional table space. So that's just how much stuff, and I didn't even have a ton of seal stuff. So yeah, 6 foot tables just aren't enough at all for us already, which is great. Now that's a good problem to have, is that we've already attained such an inventory level that 6 foot's not long enough. And then the next idea of a show and doing another 6 foot table is to then possibly get 2, so then you got 12 feet, which I think we could reasonably fill without it looking intentionally sparse, which is not something, of course, we want. You don't want your table to be too cluttered, but you also don't want your table to be too sparse. With this last show, though, being so crazy, it was very clear to me that I don't really need a second body to do like the trades and all that kind of stuff. What I really need is a second body to just watch, because it's very easy for things to walk, like especially when people are coming up and you're absolutely slammed, and somebody's coming in with a bunch of cards or wants to trade into a bunch of cards or whatever. So like all of a sudden you're spending 10 15 minutes comping cards, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when there's 6 other people standing there just waiting. So and some people are literally like, they just pick their cards out and they want to hand you cash, and it's like, yeah, I know when I see you, but this guy was here first, and I'm in the middle of comping all these cards out while we figure out and try and make this deal. Meanwhile, everything's going really crazy, which is fine. I can definitely handle the chaos and the excitement of everything going on. But it would be nice to have a second body just to stand there and be like, oh, you're just buying $20 worth of cards? Perfect. Like, thank you, here you go. Or just generally watching to make sure just things don't walk off. So I actually had a kid. It wasn't that busy. There was maybe 2 or 3 other people at the table, and some kid was like asking to like do whatever cards, and I had looked away and engaged whatever, and he almost pocketed the cards, and then I looked right back at him and I stared him down, and he took the cards back out of his pocket, and then he started went back for his wallet and started fishing out money. It's like, yes, thank you. But that's the real danger of, just as an example, that I can't be constantly watching things if I'm also doing a deal of any significance. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. And of course I would have Nicole be like the second body, but the trick is kids, of course, is what to do with them. So that's kind of the big hang up at the moment. So sticking with a 6-foot table for now and just figuring out how to tier things. I did buy like acrylic tiers that you can get on Amazon, so those should be coming in this week, and then figuring out, I'll have to do a mock setup on figuring out how I can stagger things just so I can fit more stuff within that 6-foot confined space. So we'll see how that goes. I did have a lot of people who engaged and bought, sold, traded, who are they're like people probably my age who are just getting back in, which is ironic because same, I get you. So, and then just explaining what things are going on. There were probably 8 to 12-year-olds who are getting into it now, and then subsequently their parents are kind of forced to get into it in a way. And so I actually had a bunch of teachable moments of this is kind of what's going on. This is how you how you research the value of your cards. So a kid was trying to do trades and stuff with me, but he had no idea how to value any of his cards. Okay, well, here's all these apps, or here's these websites, and go to here. Oh, you're giving me some obscure website. Okay, well, here's eBay, TCG Player, Collector, price charting. Those are kind of the go-to respected sources for pricing cards. So yeah, kind of several of those teaching moments, which is great. Obviously, more people in the hobby is good, but also okay, I'm spending a lot of time. There's a line of people, and I'm also trying to educate you on making sure you don't get, kind of screwed over by somebody. Yeah, I also had my first experience with fake cards, clearly fake cards. The images were super, super dark, to a point that doesn't even make sense. So it's the Charizard V-Star where he's fighting Mewtwo, and it was just dark, which doesn't make sense. And then you can just tell the holo is totally different. So I've seen people talk about how to ID fake cards, and on YouTube it's it's a little 1-inch square on your phone. It's hard to see all that stuff and exactly what they're talking about on a screen. But in this case, these cards were just it was so obvious. This card should not be this dark. And then with flipping over on the back, that was the next thing I've seen people talk about on YouTube, is the back and what does that look like. And it's very clear that it's just the blue and the colors are just toned down. They're not wrong. It's the right kind of blue. It's just not saturated enough. And basically these are big art terms, or big print terms, is basically the color is just not as vibrant as it should be. So that's what we mean by toned down, is basically if you it looks dull. That's the best way to kind of phrase it. And maybe not all fake cards look like this very clearly, but in this case, that's exactly what it was. As well as the card thickness, I mean, it's very clear. It was way too thick. So it's just a very, yeah, it shouldn't be like that. And then of course the print quality of the art on the card itself, especially in the text, it was just, it bled. Basically, that's when it comes to printing and the way that the ink like prints onto paper and stuff. It should, good print, it shouldn't, when that ink hits the paper, it shouldn't bleed out. It should stay exactly where it's supposed to be. And these were very clearly. So that bleeding creates what looks like it's blurry. It's not really blurry, it's just the ink is bleeding. So yeah, super, super obvious. And of course, having to be the bearer of bad news that, yeah, these are probably fake cards. And he had already gotten some input on that. He had somebody else tell him that those were probably fake cards, and I guess getting confirmation from another vendor of just like, and he wasn't trying to, you could tell he just didn't know. He wasn't trying to like work me over or anything like that. Like, he just very clearly didn't know. So yeah, that's definitely a bummer, but also a good learning experience for me. Having to be able to ID fake cards is not something, if you don't run into them, you just don't know what they look like. So definitely a good learning experience for sure. So yeah, I mean, I ended the show like literally just 5 hours. It was pretty constant, did tons and tons of selling. I came back with very little sealed product, very little merchandise. I've already had to reorder stuff up, and luckily with the cards, because we sold, sourcing cards in singles is definitely the harder part. Sourcing the sealed product is just a money problem. So it's simply a cash flow problem of, do I have the money to buy this? I already got the suppliers in line, so it's just about acquiring cash to get it. Acquiring singles though, like, that's tricky, and normally, again, with the buy trade being about 50%, I'm definitely like, usually I can feel my stock even after that, just the value of it just, well, I should do it like this, just very slightly decreasing. But this time, I don't think that'll be the case once I total everything up, where it's like, I think the value of my singles will actually probably increase a bit. So yeah, definitely super exciting. Man, I rambled on for quite a while, but I guess that's all right. I'm talking about Pokemon. What could be more exciting? So I do have a show this upcoming weekend. This one will be about an hour and a half away. I've done the show before, right before Christmas, and that was definitely a bummer. It was not slow, but definitely it was going to go one of two ways. Either everybody was going to be really jacked and spend a bunch of money because it was right before Christmas, or it was going to be, people were going to be really conservative fiscally because it was right before Christmas. And it was the second one for me. I don't know how it was for the rest of the vendors. Generally what I picked up was they also experienced, it was people were just being conservative because it was right before Christmas. And I've seen some vendor POVs on YouTube where they have done some shows right before Christmas as well, and they also echoed that right before Christmas just seemed people get a little bit conservative. So good to know. So this next weekend, back at the same location, it's the same people who organize the show, and yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a good one. I've heard that it'll be, they booked out twice the size as they did a month ago, so that should be good. I mean, what it does mean is more Pokemon vendors in general. That's mostly who does these shows. So sports cards, definitely less, more Pokemon vendors, so we all are going to get smaller chunks of this pie. But just the nature of the game. I'm not too worried about it. Definitely excited to go. Like I said, we'll be bringing the most sealed Chinese and Japanese cards that we've ever had. So yeah, so that'll be exciting to see how people react to all that stuff. And we got just a bigger variety of singles than we've had. A few of the bigger ones. So, well, bigger for us. So definitely excited to see how all that goes. Yeah, I mean, and hopefully this time I'll be able to pump the email list, because again, that's the big point of doing these shows, is to get people to the website and wanting to do that. So pump the email list, pump the socials. So finding out how I can get that QR code for the Instagram actually available, not just on the business cards. We'll still hand out all the business cards to everybody, but yeah, that's definitely one of the goals. And I forgot, I intentionally bought some Japanese booster boxes that I'll be breaking, getting the individual boosters out. I bought 3 specifically to, when somebody signs up for the email list, get a free pack. So I have basically 90 packs that I'll be handing out to people who sign up on the email list. Yes, I am bribing you to let me spam you with more Pokemon stuff. So we'll be testing that out as well this upcoming show. And I mean, who doesn't like free stuff, right? All I have to do is cough up an email. So guess we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's all I got for post-show. I think I'll still do what I'd done for the business video. I think that it'll be kind of good to do both things, because post-show and what I've achieved through the week are obviously, I achieved this throughout my week, but I've done some other stuff too. So I'll probably talk about that in that video, and I'll work on dropping that on Monday. So anybody, thanks for watching. If you want to check out our website, monstermodstudio.com, we got a bunch of Chinese, Japanese booster boxes on there. We would really appreciate it if you want to pick some stuff up from us. Thanks.